Welcome back to the Dirty South podcast, man, because everyone thinks they know sports, but nobody knows sports like the South. And Koa, it's August. It's that time of year, man. You know what time it is. I'm your host, Cam. That's my guy, Koa, over there. And this is the Dirty South podcast. Cue that intro.
It's a man's game tonight now, you know that.
Hey, 30.
All right, Koa, coming right back to you. So, if you haven't noticed, guys, there's been a little bit of beef going on between two teams. We got Sean Payton going at some of the Jets offensive coordinators, which is Nathaniel Hackett, and he's saying things like he did the worst coaching job. So we have to know, out of both of those quarterbacks on teams, when you have the Broncos and the Jets, what quarterback has more pressure on them coming into this season?
When we talk about this question, or even when we had that first initial episode that we didn't drop, there was one quarterback that you were adamant that has been overrated throughout his whole career, and that would be the one and only Russell Wilson. And I think we could have said that last year he had the most pressure because, he had his own parking spot, had his own office, and we all saw what happened during the season. Man completely just did not show up. 3,500 yards, 16 TDs, 11 interceptions. And how does Denver bounce back? They signed 2 O-linemen for him to improve the O-line. And I think the biggest thing is they bring in Sean Payton, which is one of the greatest play callers in our generation that we've ever seen. So I think by those 2 facts alone, if Russell Wilson does not get the job done now, because the thing is with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers is the mere fact that Aaron Rodgers is going there, I think they will succeed. But even if they make the playoffs and they win a playoff game, I think it'll be okay, even though they're in New York and the media will come after him, all this other stuff. But New York hasn't had success in I don't know how long. Denver won the Super Bowl less than 10 years ago. And they've had success before in the 90s with Elway, Sharp, and Terrell Davis and all them. So Russell Wilson just got paid 5 years over $200 million. Aaron Rodgers did warrant a lot going to the New York Jets by demanding a trade and bringing his boys with him. But he took a pay cut too. He's already changing the culture. I don't think that Russell Wilson is giving me that same type of energy. I mean, I think if Russell Wilson does not really show up, I think it'll open. I mean, your eyes are already open to him being overrated, but it'll truly open to everyone's eyes that the Legion of Boom really just flat out carried him. And he made the question mark of him being a first ballot Hall of Famer will have to come, because even right now, I don't know if he's first ballot, but if he doesn't get it done this year, if they don't make, nah, bro, he got to make playoffs, bro. You get paid $200 million, you got to make playoffs. I'm sorry.
To be brutally honest, Russell Wilson, as good as he is not a Hall of Famer. And I know that may sound crazy to the idle mind, but I have a rule about picking quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. If you have to think about it, they don't belong there. Because when you know quarterback's a Hall of Famer, you really don't have to question anything about what they've done. When you think about the context of when Russell Wilson was brought to Denver, the whole thing was he's supposed to be the savior. We have everything else. We got the receivers. We have a good running back. We have everything. We insert Russell Wilson, we're automatically supposed to be a better team. That was not the case last year. He was 27th in QBR. He threw 11 interceptions, like you said. And I think a lot of pressure is on him, because if you look at this, because we just got done talking about Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett. If Aaron Rodgers has a great season with Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson has a bad season with Sean Payton, what are we looking at then? Then he's not a Hall of Famer. I think Russell Wilson has the most pressure on him because his replacement in Seattle already outplayed him last season. Geno Smith had a way better season than Russell Wilson. And then when they met head to head, he beat him. You had, like what? Like what are we going on? Like what is going on?
Bro, honestly,
Russell,
wait. I don't mean to cut you off, but Seattle could have lost every other game. Then winning that one game in the fashion that they did, bro, that was the craziest like opener I've seen.
exactly. You had Geno Smith over here giving one-liners like they wrote me off and I didn't write back. Like you had the craziest things going on. All of the pressure is on Russell Wilson. He's one of the only quarterbacks I know that looks like a top 5 MVP candidate through the first 5 weeks, and we forget who he is come postseason time. He has to play good this season. All of his to me, he has the most to gain. To me, it's not Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers, to me, is already solidified. He's already a Hall of Famer. He has a Super Bowl, and you can genuinely say the past maybe 5 or 6 seasons, the Packers have been relevant because of Aaron Rodgers. You look at Russell Wilson. I mean, he was behind Pete Carroll, who is an extremely good coach, and one of the best modern defenses we've ever seen. And only won one Super Bowl with that. Because, I mean, we all know what he did on the 1-yard line, which isn't really his fault. We don't know who caught that play. But, I mean, he only has the one Super Bowl. To me, if he wins this, like he kind of breaks that mold and he becomes a Hall of Famer. So I think Russell Wilson has the most pressure on him because he has the most to gain.
That's fair. Do you think that he will? That's the second part to it. Do you think he will?
No, he won't. He won't. It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad because I really don't believe Russell Wilson. Look, I'm not gonna say he's a bad player. He's not good. I mean, he's obviously a good quarterback. He's made plays when it mattered. But I mean, to say that he's gonna come out the AFC is insane. Is insanity. Because I mean, I just don't think he can. Will they make the playoffs? Is interesting. The fact that we're here says a whole lot. This was a team who was predicting to go in the AFC Championship last year. A lot of people were saying this is the team that goes here. We're talking about if they're going to make the playoffs or not with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but the thing is,
it's crazy.
It's not the defense we have to worry about. It's the offense. Sean Payton should get that right. O-line should be no problems because they spent money on the O-line. It's really just going to come down to this man, Russell Wilson, to see how Sean Payton can.
And if Sean Payton can't fix him, no one can. I'm just being real. Sean Payton went through a stretch where he had Teddy Bridgewater looking like the greatest thing since Drew Brees. He had Taysom Hill looking like the greatest thing since Drew Brees. So if he can't fix him, no one can. Literally, no one can. And so I think it has to be the most pressure on Russell Wilson. I don't think it's really anybody else. It's tough. It's really tough for him.
Very tough.
What are your expectations for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
I think they can win a playoff game. I expect them to win a playoff game. I expect them to be divisional.
I think you don't think it's like a perfect match, kind of like with Stafford and the Rams? You don't see that correlating like that?
Do I see Super Bowl? I mean, I can see championship game. Because it's just Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, I granted.
So if the Jets met the Bengals in the playoffs, you picking Bengals 100%, no matter how they got there.
Sure.
Yeah.
See, bro, I seen Burrow win the Arrowhead, so I mean, I think the Bengals probably.
I don't rate that either.
But then again, that Jets defense is legit though.
It's crazy, and Sauce Gardner he's not a joke. It's real. It really is real. I didn't know what to expect out of college. I know he was really good, but I didn't expect him to be like you may not even like touch the ball good. Because what he did to Justin Jefferson was insane, and he's supposedly the best receiver in the NFL. So I mean, it's tough to see. It's tough to see. And switching over to our next topic, I'm glad I said Justin Jefferson because this guy is a receiver, just got signed by the Tennessee Titans. What do you think D-Hop's impact will be on the AFC South and the Tennessee Titans, Cole?
Honestly, even going back to last year, I didn't really expect too much from Tennessee. I really didn't. But they surprised me. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, they didn't fizzle out like I expected them to. They were kind of in the hunt until the very end. But I think there's been a lot of disrespect on DeAndre Hopkins, though. I do feel like people forget that he is a bona fide top 10 receiver in the league. This man used to have one of the best hands in the league. And you pair him, I get that Derrick Henry is getting older in age. I'm pretty sure he's maybe like 30 or 29. He's getting up there. But it's still Derrick Henry. You got DeAndre Hopkins, and you got Treylon Burks. I think Burks having D-Hop on the field, it's going to open up a lot for that offense with them three alone. Granted, if it's Ryan Tannehill, that is the big question mark. It is Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, we could talk about all these things, but 17 still has to throw the ball, and I don't know about him, man. I just don't know about him. And as much as I love D-Hop, he's like I said, he's to me, like you said, he was disrespected. They needed this guy so much because their running back led the team in receiving yards. Their backup running back, Dontrell Hillard, led the entire team in receiving yards. I would cut every receiver because what are we doing? So I think it definitely is an interesting fact that he's coming to a team that definitely needs his help. So I think he'll get a lot of targets, but at the same time, though, I think he'll be double covered a lot because, I mean, obviously those receivers aren't getting enough separation to get receiving yards. So I don't know how big his actual impact will be.
I think
I just don't know, man.
Burks with one-on-ones. I think I expect Burks to kind of break out a little bit.
But and D-Hop can't play defense either. I mean, this is the 26th, 28th ranked pass defense in the league last year. They do not guard against the look. I just don't see this team with the amount of weapons they have and who their quarterback is scoring enough points or even stopping anybody to really be a contender in the first place. So when you have stuff like that, I don't really know how much we can consider D-Hop being an impact. I think he'll make them better in the passing game, but overall, we're looking at the same Tennessee Titans team.
Yeah, personally. And then
I mean, they weren't contenders with AJ Brown. And I mean, they got another good receiver. So what? That's how I see it personally.
Yeah, true. and I will say that, like, if we're looking at the AFC South as a whole, like, I think it's pretty known that Trevor Lawrence has arrived, and he just got his boy Calvin Ridley adding with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, and they got ETN in the backfield. Like, that Jacksonville team is looking pretty nice.
But moving on to our last topic of the day. So, this is the Dirty South podcast. NFC. Who is the sleeper team in the NFC? And I'm going to take the cake and I'm going to go first here. Now, yes, I have been very critical of this quarterback and what he can or cannot do. But I do think with how things are setting up, the New York Giants could be a scary sleeper team to think about when you look at it. I do not believe in anything the Dallas Cowboys are doing. I just saw a video of Trayvon Diggs calling Dak some crazy words out of his name. I don't believe. I don't know. I don't know if I could see that with my eyes and be like, I believe in them as a unit, because I do not. I don't. And I don't think Dak Prescott is that good. So I think when we come to, what are they in the NFC East? I think it'll be the Giants and the Eagles fighting for that position, believe it or not. And I think the fact that they were able to keep Saquon Barkley, as bad as that deal was, and he took it, that's major for them. You got Darren Waller. You got Kayvon Thibodeau on the other side, who I believe will take another step. This team is geared to do work in their division and in the NFC, because there's no really alpha dogs in the NFC. There's no really guys other than the Eagles that are just overwhelming. Oh my gosh, you can't beat them. And so the only other team I can think about that's kind of on the uprise that people are talking about are the Detroit Lions. Other than them, I think it's open season, and I like the New York Giants. I forgot about them too. But let me put some respect on it. I literally did forget about the 49ers. That's me. But especially in their division, I think the Giants are the sleeper team. But I forgot about the Giants. They will be pretty. I mean, the Niners, they will be pretty good during the season too.
You surprised me, because I remember back in the day, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, you were giving me shit for saying Daniel Jones over Dwayne Haskins. But look,
we still got questions about him, but we
playoff win. Danny Dimes, baby, Danny Dimes. But anyways, NFC. I mean, it's not a bad take. It's not a bad take. Definitely what Brian Daboll has been doing in New York has definitely been refreshing for the New York Giants. And Daniel Jones slowly has been getting some respect on his name. But my sleeper team, they kind of broke out last year. No one expected them to do anything, but they snuck into that 7th spot. So it's all going to come down to the quarterback. But I do think Seattle is brewing something that the league is not talking about. And you got the NFC West, which me personally, I think the Rams are kind of hitting that point where they already got their ring and they're kind of feeling the aftermath of going all in for that ring with using all their draft capital and all that stuff. And then you got the Cardinals who are flat out just tanking for just probably another quarterback next year, honestly. And then the only other team is the 49ers, but Seattle, I don't know what it is. It's going to really just come down to Geno Smith, but they drafted JSN to add with Tyler Lockett, who is routinely a top 5 most underrated receiver in the league. And then
Tyler Lockett is the best receiver on that team. Easily the best receiver on that team.
See, that's not a bad take. That's not a bad take.
The best receiver on that team.
I won't even disagree with you right there. And then you got DK, of course. And then you got Walker with Zach Charbonnet, which I think he's going to have a phenomenal year next year. And then you bring back a veteran and Bobby Wagner to be back on that defense. And then you got Tariq Woolen, who didn't he make the Pro Bowl last year? Yeah, I think he did, but he definitely solidified himself as number 1 cornerback on the team. And they used to have that boy Jamal Adams. The only question mark is going to be their defensive line. But I do think that Pete Carroll.
You don't think Jamal Adams is a little overrated in your opinion?
He is.
He hits hard, but he's not the best in coverage, personally, from what I've seen.
He's like a linebacker, essentially.
He is. Yeah, he is.
But Quandre Diggs is also a very disrespected safety in the league that no one ever really talks about. And I do think that if there is a team that people are kind of not really talking about, it is definitely them. And I think it's probably Geno Smith season is a fluke, and we probably just have to see it to believe it, which the throws that he were making in that one game against your Saints were actually insane. They were actually crazy. So I'm kind of rooting for Geno Smith. It's a nice little story, but I just didn't want to go with the Falcons, like I would have said the Falcons.
Yeah, because you were a homer last episode. Honestly, I like what the Falcons are doing over there too. I mean, I don't hate what I've been seeing, especially out of training camp from Atlanta. So Atlanta, like I said, you said it's predicated on the quarterback. To me, that's Atlanta's main focus too. Do y'all have a quarterback or not? And that is gonna really dictate how good the Falcons are, in my opinion. I know everyone's talking about the running backs, and y'all do have a stable back there, but will y'all be able to throw the ball when it matters? Because this is a pass-first league. As much as we want to run the ball, I mean, you're going to have to pass the ball to win the game. But that's going to wrap up our episode for today. Definitely tell us what you think. Who has more pressure on them, especially at that quarterback position? Do you believe that Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer? I want that to be the question. I'm going to post a poll on my story. See what y'all guys do about it. Do you think Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer? Cole, you got anything to say to him?
I say just continue to give us feedback, keep on showing that love, and I appreciate everyone that tuned into the first episode, and we'll stay putting out more content for y'all.
All right, Dirty South out.